Hi YouTubers, I'm glad you're all here. Thank you very much for joining me today. Currently, there is known for a fact 2 volcanoes there on the big island of Hawaii are erupting at the same time, which has never evidently happened before. We have Kilauea and we also have Mauna Loa. Kilauea has been erupting continuously, and that's it right there on the left side of the image. And then we got Mauna Loa up here on the right. It's still traveling along the northeast rift system. And with all these volcanoes erupting around the world, yeah, you're going to see some red-colored sunsets. Yeah, and also possibly cooling down the temperature of our Earth in the southern hemisphere after the Honga Tonga volcanic eruption. Yeah, the southern hemisphere has drastically reduced in temperature. They are warning people that the sulfur dioxide gases could travel as far as Maui, I believe. Here we have an image of the SO2, and it's traveling as far as Honolulu. Let me show you there. And it's going way down south. I don't know if I can, yeah, it won't show me much farther than that. Here on earthschool.net, we got the SO2. Let me make this bigger. This is what it's currently showing for the different islands. 134 earthquakes within the last 24 hours, the largest being a magnitude 4.0 there at Pahala. And it was 19.8 miles below sea level. Now there very well could be a third volcano erupting also at the same time. They're not really sure about that. A seamound off here south of the island. Currently the aviation code is yellow, and that would be for Ahia seamound. And you can see it was updated today, November 29th. Signs of unrest at Ahia seamound have been observed in satellite and remote geophysical data. A plume of discolored water above Ahia seamound has been visible persistently in satellite data since November 18th of this year. This discoloration could be due to degassing or an eruption at the volcano, but we cannot say for certain due to the lack of monitoring stations. Starting in mid-October, hydroacoustic sensors at Wake Island, 1,410 miles east of Ahia, began recording signals consistent with activity from an undersea volcanic source. And then it talks about different seismic stations, including Guam and Japan, etc. Hydrophone signals continue to be observed, but have decreased in the past few weeks. Due to the current activity, the aviation code is being raised to unassigned to yellow, and the alert level being assigned to unassigned to advisory. So they just don't know. And like I said before, 2 volcanoes erupting on the big island at the same time. Yeah, I don't think it's ever happened before. But if we got 3, wow, that's really highly unusual. But they just don't know. Now, the magnitude 4.0 earthquake east of Pahala at a depth of 20 miles, 32 kilometers below sea level. This earthquake is not related to the eruption of Mauna Loa, they say, and has no apparent impact on the ongoing eruption at Mauna Loa and Kilauea. 73 people said they did feel that earthquake, and it was felt across the island, and they gave it an intensity level of 4, which means it was felt indoors by many, outdoors by a few. At night, some may have been woken up, dishes and windows, doors were rattling. Automobiles rocked noticeably. Once again, I downloaded data from MOKD. This is that magnitude 4.0. And this is what it's showing for the last 8 hours. Lots of rocking and a rolling going on. And we'll go back another 8 hours. All right, at about 6:59, there was supposedly a 3.5. That's it right there. I'm going to have to download that data. It's right on the edge of this one here. And you can see we got more. But they're saying this one is a magnitude 3.5. Now, all the eruptions for Mauna Loa actually all started there at the summit. And then a fault system, a dike intrusion, would open up to allow the lava to flow. And it would open up kind of like an unzipping. Right now it's still at the northeast section. 3 vents, 3 dike intrusions are up in this area. And here we have an image of some of the past eruptions. The lava along these dikes, these faults, are somewhere between 100 and 200 and possibly higher. These images are taken from screen captures from Paradise air flights. Okay, and let's see if I can get another one. I believe they have a helicopter that flies over. Here's another image. What happens when these different areas open up? The magma flows out and forms what they call a front and spreads out. Like I said, right now they're saying there's 3 areas where it has opened up. Another image of some sightseers watching the eruption. This image here is about some of the past eruptions. We got this one right here, which is 1859, and it took about 8 days from the summit and then the unzipping of the fault zone for the lava to reach the coast. Over here in red, it only took a matter of about 3 hours for it to reach from the southwest rift zone. And then from the northwest rift zone in 1984, it took 280 days for it to reach close to Hilo. Maybe that image there is a little bit clearer. 180 days. And then this other one in 1859, that was 8 days. And then the one in 1950, that was a matter of just a few hours, 3 hours. Now they have what's called radial vents on the northwest side of the island. And this 1859 eruption was from one of the radial vents. Most eruptions there on Mauna Loa only last a couple weeks, but they did have one that lasted the longest, was a year. These little red dots, I'll try and make this bigger, these are radial vents. And this one eruption right here was a radial vent. These radial vents actually extend all the way to off the island and under the water. What they do know about the eruptions there at Mauna Loa, all eruptions start there at the summit. And then 25% of them go towards the northeast rift zone, while about 20% start their unzipping for the southwest rift zone. They have never had both rift zones erupt at the same time, but that's not to say that that cannot happen. Like I said, they have never had 2 volcanoes erupting at the same time, and possibly 3 ever in the history of them studying the big island of Hawaii and all its volcanoes. Now the plume that feeds the big island of Hawaii is one large plume, and then they got dike intrusion that goes up to Mauna Loa and Kilauea, and then the other one that's off the coast that I talked about. Luihi, they got it here, but it goes by several names, and more recently they gave it another name, which is even harder for anyone, especially me, to pronounce. Throughout history, they know that Mauna Loa has had 33 eruptions. The front of the different, you can see we got 3 here, of the lava that is flowing is currently going towards the north, and right now there's no homes in danger. There is a road that they worried that can be cut off. And let me bring it over here. It says here steaming cones. They got 2 areas that are steaming and 3 vents. Here's another Twitter post that says here from Sandal Road, just before the security gate at the southern Old Saddle Road. Note that the glow and the top of the rift zone can be seen from Route 11 in Mountain View as well. Let me make that bigger for you. And they're worried about that road being cut off, for evacuations for, the people that live over in that direction. Another view, this is more recent, of the lava from Saddle Road. Another more recent Twitter post, it says the eruption of Mauna Loa continues on the northeast rift zone. 3 fissures erupted as of 1:30 p.m. The only the lowest of the 3 fissures is active. Estimates the tallest fountain heights are between 100 to 200 feet, but most are a few meters tall. Another image from Mauna Kea Mount. Now here we have another one from last night. North Pisgah Road, and that was yesterday. Let me bring this in so you can see it. Now, according to USGS, the eruption was initially at the caldera, with some flow spilling out to the southwest. After a few hours, it moved to the northeast rift, and all caldera activity ceased. But see, we still got all those earthquakes that are going on. Here you can see we got the southwest rift zone, and this one here is a magnitude 2.1 minus 0.5 miles above sea level. And yeah, you don't want an unzipping of the southwest rift zone. They have told people to stay vigilant, to keep their emergency radios on at all times, because with the 2-lane roads to get out, people are really concerned about the schools. Currently, the schools are open. They would direct traffic to one direction to get out for different areas that may be impacted with an eruption here on the southwest rift zone. One of my last videos that I made, not the one yesterday, but probably the one before, I told you guys you need to be vigilant. You need to be prepared with your animals, your belongings. And if there was an eruption in the middle of the night, how fast can you get out when it only takes about 3.5 hours for the unzipping of the rift? And in the past, it has reached the ocean in just 3.5 hours. HVO and USGS will only report after it happens. They do not know what this volcano is going to do. So they are telling people to know what lava zone boundary you might be in, and to know and to keep listening to your emergency broadcast system. All links to different things that I'm showing you will be given down below in the more information box. But here we have Mauna Loa, and we actually have 2 southwest rift zones. One comes off of Kilauea, which I think is interesting because that's the slump. Kilauea acts as a doorstop, preventing the movement of this slump, evidently. But like I said, they've never had both volcanoes, and possibly 3, erupting at the same time. So I don't know. They're saying too, data that they got last night and early this morning, that won't be available to you for several days. Here we have the Mauna Loa tilt, and you can still see that it's still elevated, which means, there's still pressure under there. But it has gone down a little bit, and this is for the past week. Here we have global positioning system across the caldera, distant changes. Yeah, it really hasn't dropped that much. Yeah, this is, yeah, they cleaned it all up. So it kind of looks like it's holding steady, but dropping a little tiny bit, not much. All right, here's the data that I downloaded. And let me pull it over. Yeah, we got this. What, it's not going to show me? Oh, it's not going to show me what's going on here. All right, let's try this one here. That one it'll show me. What's going on? Why will this not show me? Well, I'll show you what I can. Yeah, looks like there might have been a little tiny bit of screaming there. And yeah, we still have the fault opening up. You can see the sharpened points. And then over here, yeah, we got the rounded with the magma moving. All right, I got it to work. I downloaded the data once again. Yeah, that was really odd. And there's the largest, I believe it's the 4.0, 1327. Yes, I went and checked. That's the magnitude 4.0 that came in. And let's just move this across and take a look at it. See what we had going on. There's more gushers in there that came up. And this is what it was showing when I pulled the files. Let's just move this across. Let's go to the seismic signature. I'll have to make that bigger. Okay. There we go. Yeah, see, long and rounded tops. Yeah, that's what we should be seeing within a volcano erupting like it is. There's another one there, and we got more marked in red. Those are supposed to be 2.5 and 2.0s. And we'll go back to the seismic signature and make it bigger again. There we go. Let me pull it over for you. So that's all I have for you right now. If you have any thoughts or comments or questions, please put it down below. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Always be prepared. Don't wait. Yeah, if you got 3.5 hours to get out if that rift decides to open. It's never happened before, but they've never had 2 or possibly 3 volcanic eruptions all at the same time. Yeah, I would be prepared. Please stay safe, and I will talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.